Hey guys, Chris from 6++ here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Kane by A-Case. This is a magnetic case which is designed to transport pretty much every model you've ever owned, judging by the size of it. And today we're going to be covering all the different things that I believe are important in a case. Okay guys, I'm here with the box now. I haven't actually looked through it yet, so what you're seeing for the first time is what I'll be seeing for the first time. Purchasing is relatively straightforward. You get a choice of adding on extra trays and magnets, and that comes out at a percentage of what you're buying. So if you bought a cheaper one, then obviously you'd be paying less for the trays and that sort of thing. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price. The Kane is topping at like $240. Start adding in extra bits, it's going to cost you £250 plus really. So this is a huge investment. And then there is something else you need to think about, and this will depend on where you're ordering from. I'm ordering from UK, England. I had to pay £70 just to receive it. It was a £59 import tax charge and then an £11 brokerage fee with UPS, which is who it came through. That means I've basically just spent over £300 on a case to hold my models. That is an insane investment. Obviously that's nothing to do with A-Case, it's just the way it is at the moment, but I had no idea, so just making you aware. And obviously that was a percentage, but it's nearly a third. You know, I'm nearly paying a third again just to get it, which is obviously pretty frustrating. I basically bought a new army's worth of stuff, but I bought a case instead. So that is something you have to bear in mind, especially when you can make this sort of thing for yourself a hell of a lot cheaper. Duncan Rhodes has videos on it and that sort of thing, how you can just buy a nice case, buy the magnetic sheets, you know, do the lid, do the base, carry that around with you. Obviously it's not as aesthetically pleasing. But if you already have a material case, you could put these boxes in that maybe, I don't know. It's a lot cheaper is what I'm saying. But anyway, enough of me yammering on, let's have a look. So, open the box, box is ripped, but it's not really the end of the world. In the bag itself, we've got a thank you note, isn't that cute? We've got just something to say I bought the Kane. We've got a load of magnets, that's useful. So yeah, you can see there, obviously the little ones, they go on the underside of your base. One thing I'm going to be having to think about is how do you magnetize or take certain models. For example, I collect Necrons. If you think about like a Doomsday Ark or a Ghost Ark or something like that, they don't have your traditional GW bases to put the magnet under. So that's something which I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get around, so that'll be something to think about. But other than that, also, if you think about your flying bases, I've got some Tesseract Arcs, for example, the clear plastic ones. They look a bit awkward to magnetize unless you start drilling a hole into the base and popping this in. So yeah, little things I'm going to have to consider. But yeah, we've got joining things which are stuck to the magnets. Inside the case itself, we've got the trays. Now, I am no bodybuilder by any means, as you can tell. This is quite heavy, so that's immediately something I'm thinking of, lugging this around the tournament. Who knows how heavy this will be. Obviously it's all condensed. Once it's more evenly distributed around the case, it might be a bit easier. But yeah, that's certainly something I'm going to have to think about. And then you can see the case size. Let's get the right way around. It's like the same size as my body. That is massive. In fact, if you do it up, so obviously in terms of transporting it, you can just pick it up and carry it like this, or you can be one of those really cool guys. Now I've not done the straps, so obviously you've got to loosen them up, but yeah, looking like my first day ready for school there. So I'll be able to walk around breaking my back with this. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go build it. and then when I come back, I will have a go at talking you through the different pockets, where everything is, and that sort of jazz. So yeah, off I trot. Okay guys, so I just wanted to give you a little build update. So in terms of assembling, there's no assembly guide that comes with it, so you have to kind of go to the internet. But there are quite a few people out there on YouTube who've done stuff. AKs themselves have a YouTube channel which talks about how to build one of the other ones, and it's the same process. Very simply, you just get a back piece, 2 identical side pieces, and then you get 2 top pieces. As you can see, all you do is you start with your base, you put your back piece in, and then these sort of slide down. Kind of you just slide them down here. What you need to make sure is that the proper ribbing bit is on the inside, and that the bit nearest where the camera is, which is obviously the front, that's gonna have the holes. Okay, because that's where the pins go. Okay, so all very simple. And then you come to the top. Now, I've not seen any concerns about this or anything. No issues. This is probably just my own bad luck, because that seems to be how things are going at the moment. But if we have a look, you will see that that is quite clearly warped. So straight. Oh, quite clearly not at all what it's supposed to be. Very much bent out of shape, which causes a bit of a problem when I go to put the lid on. The lids from the videos I've seen already are makes it quite hard, but that's quite the gap. Now obviously I can try and force it in. I've been trying to force it in for the last 5 minutes and it's not worked, so I'm going to have to carry on trying to force it in to try and get it to work. Maybe take a hammer to it, I don't know. But yeah, so not the best start to the review really in terms of the build quality, but I will persist, because you know I spent enough money. I will be persisting to get this to work, and then I will come back once I've got any further thoughts. Well guys, I'm done. I have managed to put it together with the help of dear old Papa. I'd love to say it was an easy build, but I mean literally everything that could go wrong kind of did go wrong. First of all, as you saw, it didn't fit because of the warping from transport or whatever. Eventually managed to get it on, and then obviously the next moment, once you put your pins in and stuff. By the way, the videos online show the pins being a really tight fit. My pins just went straight in, like really loose. Supposed to secure it in place. But I was thinking, well, you know, the pins aren't that important, because we've got to fit it in the bag, and the bag is a tight fit. All the videos said it was a tight fit. Well, there's tight fits, and then there's tight fits. It's hard to explain how tricky it was trying to get this in. I'm glad I didn't film it. It was an absolute joke. It was, I don't know if maybe this particular bag has been slightly stitched too tightly, but compared to the videos that I watched of people who did, oh, it's a bit tough, this was just, it genuinely took like 15 to 20 minutes of hard graft to fit it in. So disappointing, but at the end of the day it's done, so we can move past that. Maybe I just got unlucky with my product. So now we're going to focus on the important thing, which is this bag actually any good? So first of all, it is massive. I don't know how easy it is to show how large it is, but here's a tank. So yeah, that puts it in some sort of thing. So when I'm getting a bag, I'm looking for multiple pockets. I'm looking for plenty of storage room, easy to carry, all that jazz. Because I'm going to be going to tournaments, I'm going to be going to friends' houses, That's the sort of thing I want. So let's go and have a look. So first of all, obviously we've got a massive pocket here. Velcroed up. More than enough room for the 5 different books you need from Games Workshop to take your army to a tournament or a match, so that's fine. The codex has come up to about here. That leaves this amount of essentially dead space, so I'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, nice big front patch, great. Come around here, we've then got little space here. That'd be stuff like chess clocks, tape measures, all that jazz. And then it's got another pocket here, nice big pocket. Fit some more stuff in. On the back, we've got here, basically, if you don't want to use the carry part here, you can obviously attach stuff here, go over the top, and then unclip these, shove them in, so that's a nice option. So what else have we got? Again, on the other side, another big pocket there. So you've got all your standard pockets, and I'm more than happy that that's good enough. However, there's just a part of me, and maybe this is me being a bit bitter about having paid so much money, but there's a bit of me that's like, if you're selling a case which is over £200, you should be thinking of every little detail. Now they have done that to some strange extent. I mean, we've got this Velcro-y thing, so I can stick badges and emblems on there maybe. So yeah, that's, I guess, something. But like, this is a massive bag. I could be going places with this. Maybe more thought out pocket design would be helpful. As I said, a codex book. I mean, are there many things you're going to get which you need all this space? Could they not have created one there and then another couple of small pockets there? We've got the big pocket here, and then we've got the little pocket here. That's excellent. Why not do it on the other side? Why only do it on one side? Just somewhere to hold a water bottle would make sense, wouldn't it? You know, your deodorant for when you're at a tournament, because always remember to take deodorant, guys. It's just like those little things that it feels like, you know, all the bags do the same, and I just think if you're trying to be right at the very top, you know, you're trying to be top tier production, think about these little things. Just a thought I would have. So anyway, obviously there's only one reason you're watching this, which is to see what happens when we open it. So let's do that now. So let's have a go. Ta-da! Here we go. Now, I don't think this flap is probably supposed to be here. It's probably supposed to be tucked under, but to be honest, I needed every little bit of free room that I could get in order to try and fit the case into the bags. It genuinely at one point looked like it wasn't possible. So that's what I did. Now you will see that this thing is insanely big. It's hard to put into words. Like, this is so much bigger than I imagined. It's a huge amount of storage space there. You would only get 3 trays, which is obviously nowhere near enough. I got the extra 3. And they kind of split every other and it all matches up. The way you kind of secure them in place, you'll see you put these little pins in here, and then you just kind of like pull the pin out and then pull the tray out. If the pin's in place, it just pulls out to there, so it's not gonna fly off or anything like that. I mean, you do get enough to put one in both sides, but that's probably just effort. So let's have a look at my incredible magnetizing and what I've done. So pull that pin out and out we come. So there's no lock at the back, so if you keep pulling it will just come out. Right, so just bear that in mind. And you can see here, look at the space we've got. I've magnetized, this is 20 warriors. You can fit 66 warriors on the tray, I worked it out. So for those of you who like to take a hoard, on just one tray you're going to be getting, well, you're going to get over 60 models, so that's pretty impressive. You can see here you've got some bigger size ones. You've got good old Terry the Telemon. He is there. These guys have got one magnet. He's got one magnet. These have got 2 magnets each. Okay, and they're very simple, just there, like that. Obviously the fun thing everyone wants to do, magnet trays. There's turn. Even as I've done this before, I know it won't break, but there you go. Okay, so we're fine. We're fine, we're fine. Nothing's breaking, nothing's falling off. Nerves off still. So there you go. You can see Terry, who is one of the bigger models in the range, fits in with room to spare slightly. If you're taking a Magnus or a Morty, you're probably going to have to drop down another rung. But yeah, that's kind of like the view of it as best as I can give. I'm now going to go back and summarise my thoughts. Okay guys, so I'm back with my final thoughts. The observant among you may have noticed that I have changed slightly from the intro. The old haircut has been done, and that's because although I was going to initially just go straight into my final thoughts, I kind of realised that actually I need to use this case for a while. So in fact I have been using it for the last month now. Because of this, I think I'm in a much better position to talk about the positives and negatives to this case. So this is now my informed final point of view. As you could probably tell, my initial impressions weren't actually too positive. There are a lot of issues with the build quality, and it just felt like a massive case. Since moving it around and taking it to my friends' places and all that sort of thing, I have grown to appreciate it more. It's not as heavy as I thought. It is still quite heavy, but once it's on your shoulder, it's absolutely fine. And, you know, the space is great. It's as simple as that. Yes, it is huge, but you can see how useful it would be. It's twice as big again as the size down, and that is probably just something you need to think about. If you're never going to play an army with big models, you don't need this case. But any sort of army, and let's face it, there are more and more out there now, which do have big models, this would be useful. I mean, if you're going to take knights, for example, this case is a no-brainer. But I had the Silent King, and he took up half the case in terms of height. So you do want this sort of case if you're going to be taking bigger models. But if you're never really going to be thinking about that, then this size is probably not that useful. In terms of taking it around the place, I drive to where I play. It doesn't fit in the boot. If you have a parcel shelf on your boot, it is too tall for that. So when I'm going to a tournament, I've got other people in the car, I want to take the parcel shelf off. It's just a bit of an irritant, really. So that is just something I've had to bear in mind. So I've been keeping it on the back seat, and it moves around a lot. It hammers into your back seat. I live in basically the countryside in England, which means that all the roads I drive on are very, very bumpy. The car's flying all over the place. So I've actually managed to give it quite a good road test in terms of kind of how safe and secure it is. Especially the first time I used it, I got to my match thinking, oh no, this is going to be awful. And you know what? Not a single thing was broken. You can tell that they do slide around slightly, the models, because never before have I had such damage to bases. So the black rim that I've painted onto my models, quite often is paint chipping. And that's presumably where the models slide slightly on the magnetic bases. So just don't cram your bases, or don't cram your models onto the metal tray, I guess is probably my advice there. And then they won't slide. But yeah, generally they haven't fallen over, they haven't smashed into each other, and that's with the bag hitting, like going into the back seat, going into the front seat, and back again, and all those sorts of things. So actually, very strong magnets, and the case is doing the job well. I'm still not fully sold on the size of this thing. I feel like 3/4 would be ideal. It makes sense to have this full version for, as I said, like someone with a knight army, but in terms of me personally, I wouldn't really need that, but it'd be nice to have that option. So that's where of extra height, so that's where a 3/4 size one would be perfect, I think. The big question, I guess, at the end of the day, is this value for money? I'm hard pressed to wholeheartedly say yes it is. There are so many other options out there. You've got the IKEA option, which people are starting to do. You have got the Duncan Rhodes one, which obviously just so much cheaper. This is a huge expense. It's already an expensive hobby, and I've had to pay over £300 for this. I'm going to make sure I get value for money out of it, but if money is tight, I would probably suggest you look for other options. That being said, if money is not tight and you want a large case to take large amounts of tool models or just whole armies and keep them stored there, then this is great as an option. My initial concerns about whether it was like good enough in terms of build quality and that have kind of dimmed down in time, so I would recommend it if you can afford it and you want that sort of size. But if you're sitting on the fence, I would probably recommend going elsewhere and looking at other options. So there you go, guys. Those are my final thoughts and views. It's a very difficult piece of equipment to review simply because of the money compared to price and value, and it very much depends on you as a person, what you are looking for and how much you can afford. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I know I've gone into a bit more detail than maybe other reviewers out there, but you know, if you're interested in spending that much money, I think it's important that you see the whole package. If you have any points of view, please feel free to drop a comment below, or hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. We're on all those platforms and the links are in the description. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day and see you soon. Take care.